Hey there, super friends. This is Joey with Last Point Gaming. Today is Thursday, January 18th, 2018. I literally just looked at it and I already forgot. If you want to connect with us on social media, you can friend up our Last Point Gaming Facebook account. You can follow us on YouTube at Last Point Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter at Last Point Gaming. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Stranger Sparrow. And you can always reach out directly with an email to lastpointgaming@gmail.com. Seriously, please interact with me. Send me questions. Send me things that you'd like to hear me talk about. Please. Husband and I, really got to get back to trying out that Fallout board game and getting in a good solid game with Epidemic. I don't know, probably next time he comes over to hang out, that's what we're gonna do. We just haven't gotten to see him with the holidays and everything, I guess. I don't know, Magic content's getting to hell. This shit's boring to me and I'm the one talking. I can't imagine what it's like for you all out there listening. But that's what I got to work with today, so I guess here we go. So tonight, I have to try to slam together a deck for tomorrow or talk Boo into doing Sealed. It's her week to go this week. And of course, they'll be offering both the constructed F&M as well as the sealed release F&M. Of course, this is assuming we get enough players. Yeah, so either way, I should probably slam something together to take in case we can't get enough sealed, or... Man. Yeah, F&M attendance has been, really awful lately. I'm hoping the recent bans will shake that up and be encouraging to people. I'm really worried that they're not. Might be nice to see the shop shift to a different F&M format, but at the same time, that's a pain in the ass for me. Because Boo is still... she's still learning how to work with constructed. And draft is a whole other bag of cats. What is going on here? Why is nobody moving? Oh, man. This is gonna suck. God damn it. Alright. Let's figure out how to make that work. I just got a preview of what I'm going to hit at the bottom of this ramp. And it looks like it's a disabled vehicle, maybe? Oh, it's a cop. Okay, well, that makes more sense. This feels weird, though. I shouldn't be doing this. Merging out around a cop. Because, you're supposed to clear the lane for cops? Oh well. Alright, I did it. I did the thing. It's all done now. Anyway. So, yeah, draft is still a pretty rough game for her. And she, it's not even so much you ended up with an awful kind of pool of cards there, but that's alright, we'll figure something out. She, totally screws her whole draft pod because she doesn't know what she's doing, so she just takes anything that looks neat. And modern means I would have to build her a modern deck, which, luckily, I don't think there's any crossover between the Revolt Zoo deck. Yeah, Naya Revolt Zoo. And the Humans deck. But there were a couple cards I was borrowing from Mirror Match. And, I think 2 of them were Atarka's commands, which, it's not that I'm opposed to buying them, but the whole reason I was borrowing them from him is I couldn't find them anywhere local. So, I don't know. If they announce that they're moving to Modern, I may have to hit up Dealer and see if he has them. If not, I guess just order them off TCG. Ugh. So yeah, switching formats at this point does kind of hurt a little bit. I'm not sure she could really play Revolt 2. I know that deck looks like simple, but it's not. Especially if you're like putting any effort into getting the win with it. But even like the nut draw, like sequencing is incredibly important. Yeah. I just see her having a rough time with that. I see her really having a bad time with anything in Modern. Because the complexity of mechanics involved just ticks up by like tenfold. I mean, I guess I could just build her Modern Burn. I mean, I guess there are non, strictly meta decks that I could build for her. We have most of the pieces for black-white tokens. I don't have any Bitter Blossoms, though. And we have a fair amount of the pieces for, oh god, I just had it, but I don't know. Well, I mean, we could even build, a Goblin Tribal, or, hell, even a Vampire Tribal. Somebody did point out that her standard deck is Modern legal, and I'm like, yeah, but that's showing up to a gunfight with a knife. that ain't gonna work out. And I mean, you want to talk discouraging, games aren't even going to be close. So yeah, I don't know. While personally I'm hopeful about the new standard format since the bans and everything. And since we did get some great tools from Rivals for standard, and not much that's looking like it's Modern playable. Ooh, actually, I think I have everything for Eldrazi Tron but Karn. And y'all know my feelings about him. We'll just run some extra Ugins, it'll be fine. Oh man, focus. Yeah, I'm just so exhausted. And the thing is I'm tired all day until, I try to go to bed, and then, it's just every single worry. It's been frustrating lately. Anyway, moving right along. Nobody came here to listen to my whining, so... So yeah, I think I'm going to slam together Boros aggro. I think I have pretty much all the pieces. There may be a couple cards I need to get. I mean, it's the unfortunate thing with her on the black-white, or mono-white Vampire Monument. Anything good in the Vampire vein, I'm going to need to buy new copies of, because she's using all of ours. But that's alright. I'm okay with that. I may just put together black-white vampires. I mean, how hard can it be to figure out this deck list? Again, just take the black-white warriors list and switch things out. Get out of my way. Ugh. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to play tomorrow night, so hopefully I'll be talking about that tomorrow evening, because hopefully tonight I will slam something together. And I also got to pick out, a deck that I'm running for Standard in that X-Mage League. But I got a little more time to figure that one out. I definitely want to go with a constructed deck tomorrow, even if her and I are planning to do Sealed. because, yeah, again, I don't know that we're going to get enough players for both formats to be able to fire both. So we may have to say, okay, well, this is how many players we got to work with. We definitely can't fire both, so put it to a vote. And which one are we firing? I don't know, though. With the sealed release, we usually get a couple more players for that than we get for regular F&M. So we may end up, it's more likely we'll be able to fire sealed than constructed, unless there's a massive resurge of players, since banning's neutered a couple of the big decks. Yeah, around my LGS, actually the bigger gripe was Rambly Red. Because so many people started playing it because we had a heavy teamer presence for a bit, and tokens. And Rambly Red was pretty good against tokens. Mostly because of Rampaging Ferocidon. So, a lot of people converted to Rambly Red because between the two, cost was actually lower for Rambly Red than trying to build Teamer Energy. Because it had a much smaller market share, and there were only a couple very expensive cards in it, and like Chandra has been good since she showed up, so a lot of people had already acquired them. Hazoret was the real, like, ooh, that stings. But with Teamer, man, Scarab Gods are insanely expensive. I hear they dropped a bit. They were at like 50 there for a while. Kind of wish we would have liquidated ours, but I don't know. Somebody could break that open in Modern, maybe. Probably not, but maybe. I think there are just too many things that eat shit out of the graveyard in Modern. Like, I remember having an Emrakul Aeon's Torn go to my graveyard, and I was like, oh, cool, I get to shuffle, and my opponent's like, no, I'm gonna eat it with my Scavenging Ooze, and I'm like, is that really how that works? Shit. Well, that sucks. Not to mention things like Leyline of the Void and Rest in Peace. You know, all the Dredge hate cards are bad for the Scarab God. Man, maybe that's what I should roll up in X-Mage. I always wanted to play Dredge. I didn't have the cards for it, obviously. And I don't think I have the actual skill set to play, especially in paper. You know, there is something to be said for the online programs that, like, grab your triggers for you. Like, you can't miss your Narcomoeba trigger. That's one thing I'll say in the Versus series. I like Brad Nelson, I do, and he was perfectly nice to me when I met him. I don't think he's a bad person or anything, and I'm not trying to, like, trash talk on him. But everything starts off all fun and nice and kind of casual until he ends up on the back foot. Like, once the match starts slipping away from him, he gets a little bit competitive. Where it's like, oh, and my Narcomoeba. Nope, you missed that trigger. What? But I imagine that this is something like all the pros struggle with when trying to play at a more casual mindset. Is, yeah, everything's all fun and happy and everything until they get put in a hard place. And then, like, all that old competitive, well, not even old, but all that competitive training, like, just snaps in and goes, all right, we're going to burn them to the ground. But in any case, I remember the first time watching Todd Anderson, I think it was, played Dredge on the Versus series. And, like, I had no clue what was going on, because he's not always so great at announcing what he's doing for that series, especially in some of the longer ago videos. He's like really improved his skills there. But in some of the earlier videos, you know, he's playing Dredge and he's just like taking shit out of his graveyard, and I'm like, I have no idea what's happening. Are you just cheating? Are you just like, oh, I don't have creatures. Oh, look at all these creatures in my graveyard. Now they're in the battlefield. Nah. But it looks like such a fun deck. until you get hit with one of those cards that just completely bones it. Like, I wouldn't call the deck a glass cannon. It's got a really good strategy and everything, except there are just certain cards that make it completely unplayable for you if your opponent can get them out on curve. Like Grafdigger's Cage, Rest in Peace, Leyline of the Void. What else we got? I feel like there's more that I'm missing. Like Relic of Progenitus is like, okay. I mean, that's gonna suck when you pop that bitch, but it's kind of a one-shot answer. But no, I guess I'm just going to play humans. Like, that is the one of the 3 decks that I'm pretty solid on. Like, this is what I want to play. Yeah, picking a legacy deck was definitely hard because I only knew of, like, 3 legacy decks. I knew there was Manaless Dredge, which does look super duper fun. Again, until you get hit with something that, like, auto-concede. I knew that there was a Legacy Storm. And lands, because I've pretty much all the Legacy coverage I've watched was team events, and they did focus on Jody Keith playing storm or lands pretty closely during was when he was teamed with Todd Stevens and Tom Ross. That deck, I have no clue what's going on. Like, there's just a bunch of lands doing weird things, and then, like, one becomes, 2020 creature. Nobody has any idea what happened. I like the sound my turn signal makes. So, I put out a couple posts, one on Twitter, one on Facebook, asking people for, hey, what do I do in Legacy? And then it was brought to my attention that there's a Legacy Elves deck. Of course there's a Legacy Elves deck. How did I miss that? That sounds fun. I hear Legacy Burn's actually cheaper to build than Modern Burn, which is kind of mind-blowing. I also imagine Burn doesn't do as well in Legacy. I don't know, though. Oh, let's see here. What did Terrence stream today? I'm running out of stuff to talk about here. I really felt like I would be in a position where, like, I would have more to talk about than time to talk about things. And at first, that was kind of how it was. And now, not so much. What the French fucking toast is going on up here? Oh, Taryn ran Jund Dinosaurs today. I only got to watch a little bit of the stream before I had to cut out. Is the road I need closed? It's gonna make Joey a sad panda. Because I don't even know where, like, that ramp goes. I don't think I've ever been on it. Oh, are we allowing U-turns to happen here? Because, I mean, that's, I guess, kind of helpful, but not even really. Am I gonna have to go back from whence I came? That's a median, friend. You're not supposed to go over that. Don't do that. Alright, well, we're gonna sit here for a bit. It's gonna make this lack of things to talk about even more awkward. I did look up MTG Goldfish's, like, modern meta deck list last night, or list of decks. And I guess they're pulling data from stuff happening on MTG Online. Because, of course, there have been no events since the bans. But, whoa. There are like a billion cops. Is that all the cops? Holy crap. Oh, and they're all coming up this ramp. Yeah. I don't think I get to go this way. Alright, well, with this new fascinating development, and there's a helicopter. I don't think I want to be here. I may have to cut you guys off a little short so I can pull up my Google Maps to get home. Seriously. Like, I'm not shitting you. There's like 60 cop cars. All with lights going and... Oh, you know what? I think there was an incident in Harrisburg today. Local law enforcement officers may have died. Wonder if it's like a funeral thing. Because there's just a massive convoy of cop cars with their lights going, but no sirens. Well, we'll see what happens here. But yeah, there are definitely some neat decks, some Godfarer's Gift decks, of course. I think 2 variants, Azurius and Esper. There is a Grixis energy deck, which actually looks kind of neat. Especially being that both cards that got hit with the ban have green in them. And Grixis is blue, red, black. So I think it's taking like all the best of what's left in the format. So there may still be some room for a Harsh Mentor in Standard for a bit yet. Just because you can't get the ping on the things entering the battlefield or anything like that, but you can get the actually bigger ping on activated abilities. Alright, so all the cop cars went through, so now what are we doing? Anything? No? We're still not moving? Okay. I don't think poor Elsa can handle going over this median. Oh, are we moving? Moving's my favorite. Yeah, there's a fire truck and another fire truck. Oh, God. And I'm stuck on a bridge. I hate being stuck on a bridge. Alright. So there was like 10 minutes of live thought stream, so... Kinda sorry about that. Alright then, so, yeah. I may play Sealed tomorrow night, mostly because there is a Sealed PPTQ on Saturday, which I agreed to volunteer, I guess, or sign on to potentially be a floor judge for, and if there aren't enough players to warrant a second judge, then I guess I get to play. I don't know. And this is, of course, PPTQ for the Pro Tour 25. Isn't there, like, a Team Pro Tour coming up? How does that even work? Like, does your whole team have to qualify? Does that mean there's going to be a team qualifier season? Or do you just, like, have to team up with people that are qualified? That's interesting. I did see... I want to say he's on Team Meta Game Gurus, and he's like the youngest Like, the kid's only, like, I don't know, 12? I don't remember his name. I want to say he's, like, you know, one of the Jones guys. But I feel like I'm wrong about that. He's qualified for the Pro Tour, so that's exciting. I think it is really neat to see the younger kids playing. Nothing against Dana Fisher. Like, I think she is an adorable little girl and, you know, seems to have a lot of skill going on and everything. But I'd like to see them, I mean, at least she, or her dad, I guess, handles her Twitter account, gives shout outs to other kids playing in events with her, where it's like, yeah, I went to this cool event and this is what I did, and look, this guy is my friend and he is also a youngin'. I think it's great to see the next generation, and I'm not just saying that to make it more acceptable that my kid plays and is kind of loosey-goosey in her gameplay. But yeah, I think it's nice to see some younger kids playing, because if you really look at it, Magic was meant to be a kid's card game, and you're watching, you know, 30-year-olds in the top 8s of pretty much every event. Which, I mean, makes sense. Especially if they've been playing for a long span in the game, you build up skill and everything. But even, like, our events at the shop, you don't see that many young ones there. It's mostly, like, 20 plus. Even the 20-year-olds are a little few and far between. Do I know how to get where I'm going if I turn up this side street? Because this police traffic is insane. I think I ran into this once before when there was a firefighter's funeral at the funeral home right up the way here. And, like, part of me wants to be pissy about it. Like, God, I'm stuck in traffic because of all these people in this funeral convoy. But at the same time, I mean, these are the people that risk their lives for the safety of others. So I just can't bring myself to be that pissy about it, I guess. It's frustrating, but, you know, at the same time, again, they risk their lives purely for the safety of others. So, what else do I got to talk about? Oh man, this is hard, guys. I'm sorry. This is like gonna be a really bad one, and I'm gonna end up posting it anyway because hey, I posted Tuesdays and that was pretty bad. I don't know. I have to sell Boo on doing sealed because I found that us playing different formats like just really doesn't work out too well, because I think it was the Ixalan release weekend. For that FNM, she wanted to do sealed, and I wanted to play the mono red deck because that Nationals was only like 2 weeks after release or something like that. So I really wanted to get in as many games with that deck as I could before, you know, taking it to this tournament that I was spending all this money to go to. Should I turn down that side street? Is that Crooked Hill Road? I think I know where that goes. But I'm also not 100% sure on that one. Oh, it looks like everybody's turning on that side street. I wonder if, like, can we not go straight here? Oh. Maybe this isn't a funeral thing. Maybe there is a legit incident. No, okay. No, other people are going to. Alright. But, I mean, sealed's also going to be, like, really expensive for the two of us. And doing solo sealed with her is always more stressful because I have to help her build her deck, and I have to build mine, and, like, I'm really not good at this. Like, I'm working on my limited skill set, but it, is not going so great. Honestly, I don't know. If I don't end up judging for this PPTQ on Saturday, I may end up just bailing. It's like, yeah. Oh, no. Definitely funeral. Okay. Yeah, there was some kind of shooting incident in Harrisburg today, and I know members of law enforcement were hit. I didn't actually get to read the article. I just saw, like, the headline blurb pop up in my Facebook feed. Harrisburg's a weird city, yo. So what all are you looking at playing in Standard? I really like the idea of black-white vampires. I did black-red vampires back in the OG Innistrad block. Before I got on the humans build, which was super fun. Both decks were, like, really fun. But I liked the artwork for Geist Honored Monk, which is what kind of sealed it. But, like, the original Olivia Voldaren, she was great. Oh, she was just so much fun. Plus, you had Vampire Nighthawk back then. And, oh, what else was there? There were just so many great options to pick from. Stromkirk Noble couldn't be blocked by humans. Rakish Air. Every time you did combat damage, you got a +1/+1 counter. There was another vampire that I think every time it did combat damage, you put a +1/+1 counter on all your vampires. Back then they were black and red, so this is a little bit different. And you also had Sorin. Feels weird to have a bunch of vampires running around in Standard with no Sorin. I like Sorin. I wish they'd bring him back. I don't care that he's not part of the Gatewatch. But I guess Sorin's, like, trapped in stone or some trash like that, because Nahiri got very, very upset with him. And sounds like Nahiri is, like, the last planeswalker you want to fuck with. Well, second to last. I think Bolas still wins. Super excited for us to go back to Dominaria. I'm really hoping for some great, nostalgic, flavorful cards out of there. Especially, like, it would be nice to see Urza and Mishra get actual Planeswalker cards, even though they're both dead and have been dead for a very long time in the storyline. But you know what? Ugin was dead too. They brought him back. I'd take a Spirit Urza. Mishra I'm less concerned about. I was less enamored with him because I didn't have all of Mishra's junk. I had all of Urza's junk. Unfortunately, I don't have much of Urza's junk anymore. I think I did come across the sunglasses of Urza in our card sorting one day. And I'm like, you know, the really sad thing is I kind of want to deface this card by cutting out the sunglasses and putting them on my unstable Urza head. Because I think they line up. I'm not positive, but I feel like they do. But I was told I am not allowed to deface the sunglasses of Urza. But yeah, Dominaria should be pretty exciting. I'm really hoping for, like, a kind of blast from the past feel, even though a lot of the cards from back then that were good, they can't reprint. Oh, and what's this noise about Hasbro's gonna be letting WotC go? I'm really interested to see what happens there. husband and I were actually speculating about that before Rudy did his video on it. I'm not sure how I feel about it. And of course, people are speculating that that's going to be when the reserve list goes away. I think we should all just get over the hope that the reserve list is ever going away. I think we need to stop holding out on that one, which is unfortunate for the vintage format. Because eventually you're going to run out of playable copies of these cards. And I feel like you already kind of see this where it's the same players always showing up to vintage. The person I have dubbed vintage, apparently he doesn't play so much anymore, but he does do commentary. So I think the next time there's some kind of vintage tournament, I'm going to have to watch for him. That was exciting. Got to see him last weekend because anymore it just seems like he makes it out for the pre-release stuff, but not much else. Y'all turned into a growed up and everything. Doesn't have as much time to play, which is unfortunate. He was a very good player and just super nice guy. But yeah, I don't know. It could be good for the game. It could be bad for the game. It could kill the game. I think as long as there are buyers, as long as it is a positive value of production, they'll keep churning stuff out, whoever owns them. But this is why it's even more important to encourage new players. Which touches on the Brian DeMars article today. I only kind of glanced over it, and I'm not going to lie, when I first started reading it, I was like, man, Brian DeMars has an uncanny talent for pointing out the obvious. But, I mean, to a point, yeah, he does. Most of the articles I've read by him are things that, shouldn't need to be written about, but they kind of do. And today's was all about tilt is anger. Well, yeah. But it's about the need to control your emotions when dealing with other players, and I mean that's pretty fair. There are definitely players that need a refresher in that. And just, you gotta be careful. Well, I guess you don't gotta, but you should be careful. Don't Kanye West this shit. Referring, of course, to when Taylor Swift won some award or another, and he walked up on stage and took the mic from her and was like, yeah, I'm sorry, but Beyonce should have won. Explaining to your opponent how you should have won the game is kind of... I thought it was great when I played against Felicetti, and at the end of our third game, he was like, so here's how you could have won. I was terrified that, you were going to do this. And even, the other guys at the shop are like that, when you get to the end, they'll tell you where you, majorly screwed the pooch, just so you can be aware of it and, learn from it. And I think that's great. I don't think it's really kosher to expect anybody to just hand you wins. Though Mr. Vance did that one time by pointing out my missed rampaging for us on trigger when his token entered the battlefield. But at the same time, helping somebody grow and learn is, it's pretty nice. Especially, if you are a competitive grinder, it's really in your best interest to help elevate the level of play from everybody around you, all the people you regularly play with. Because, you may be the F&M king at your shop, but when you're not playing against people who are on your level or higher, it's not helping you prepare for these events where you're going to run into, the best players in the tri-state area, plus pro players from all over the place. you know, it's not doing you any favors to allow everybody else to stay stagnant. And I mean, I'm not saying force help on people. Some people, they just play for the joy of the game, and, you know, okay, cool, thanks for the tip, but don't care. But, you know, being able to point out, like, you know, hey, when you did this was another line of play you could have taken, and it might have ended up better for you, and I just want to make sure that you're aware that it was there. Like, I love how many of the guys at the shop are just super good with Boo and help her with all that. Alright, well, I am home, and so I'm going to cut off here. Hopefully I'll have something more interesting to talk about tomorrow. But as always, if you made it this far with me, thank you very much for listening, and I will talk to y'all later.